what you see.
And back, nice T-shirt, Back to the Future
Oh,
T-shirt.
that's right. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I like it. So, where are you, Bruce? Actually, at the moment, you are in your home studio.
Yeah, yeah. I've got a sort of a building in my garden that I built about 4 years ago now. So it's all set up for. There's lots of speakers because it's all set up for Dolby Atmos and things like that. So yeah, it's nice. I'm lucky to have. This is my office where I spend most of my life
In the garden.
in the garden. Yeah.
Great. So there is a new album for the Pineapple Thief, and yeah, I would say it's a great journey, right?
Yeah, I hope so. I hope so. It's I kind of a lot of people said, "Oh, it's only got 8 tracks, and they're sort of all sort of 4, 5, 6 minutes long." But I kind of feel like we've managed to cram in an awful lot. It's so like you said, the journey takes you through. For me personally, and having played them live, and we've got together to rehearse recently, it does feel like a nice journey and sort of a nice culmination of the current lineup. You know, the current lineup with Gavin in the band. It feels like it's really matured. Certainly, my relationship with Gavin has.
So you are, yeah, Gavin is in the band for 5 or 6 years, right?
Yeah, so he was a session guy for Your Wilderness, even though he was more than a session. Because he did get involved with straight away. The relationship was quite creative. So that was 2016, and then he kind of joined. It got to the point where he was a band member, and so I said, "Gavin, should I just tell people you're in the band?" And he said, "Yeah, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, yeah." So it kind of just sort of happened without anyone really realizing it.
Pretty smooth way, I would say.
Yeah, smooth. Yes, yeah. We're lucky to have him. We are lucky to have him.
Um, so I've heard that this is the most challenging album for in your career. Is it right? And how was the what was the most challenging thing to record or to write on this album?
No, I think recording's always quite easy. I'd say relatively easy because we've got our studios and we can just keep. It's not like the old days where you might have paid for a studio session 3, 4, 6 weeks or whatever, and you've got to get it done. We've got the luxury, probably too much of a luxury, to be able to just spend as long as we want recording. Writing is the key. And if you haven't got the song, then it doesn't matter how long you spend putting an album together; it's not going to work. And I think we just kind of we just keep setting the bar for us personally. When we set off to do a record, we just want to keep improving or keep experimenting in different areas. And so for this one, it took the longest it's ever taken, 3 years between Pineapple Thief albums. And I spent a lot of time with Gavin in his house, in his studio, writing together, which was quite intense. So it's quite old school. It's like, it's just like how it used to be, people
Blood,
sat
sweat, and
around.
tears.
Yeah. You play this, you play that. Yeah, I'll play this. So it was like your brain is just on maximum. So after those sessions, it was a lot of the songs came together from those sessions. But it was in that respect, it was really, really intense.
It's funny because we don't have the impression that it was so hard because it's really natural to listen to this album. It's
Oh, good. Yeah, I mean,
fluid and we don't have this impression of hard work. Sorry to say
yeah,
that, but
I guess it's when you're songwriting, is your brain is just for me personally, it's the hardest that my brain works. It's like I'm cranking my brain, and because you're desperately trying to come up with the melodies and the words. I mean, once you've found them, it's great. It's just and playing them after you've created it is lovely. But actually coming up with them in the first place, that involves. It's really hard to describe the process, in your brain. But yeah, it's. So when I say it was hard, I mean it wasn't hard as in we were getting angry or agitated. It was just a lot of brain. We called us CPU. Our CPUs were on maximum.
Okay.
For all this time, for all this progress.
And yeah, you're right. The melodies, and especially on the, of course, when you listen to the song, it leads to this. Of course, the melodies in the chorus are fantastic, and I got it. I got this chorus in my mind
Right.
all day long. It's quite
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. Thanks. And that's the thing. I've always existed. The Pineapple Thief has always existed in the progressive rock world, and I think a lot of bands in the prog world kind of put the importance of melody to one side, and there's a lot of bands that put technical,
Demonstrative stuff.
yeah, and I've always been obsessed with melody and trying to understand when it connects. What is it about that melody that I've just come up with that connects, that makes you want to sing it, that makes you that makes you feel a certain way?
Better.
I haven't got the answer. I don't know what it is, but I know when I've got it. I know when I've got that melody where I think personally, yeah, that's it. So I'm glad you enjoyed that.
Who's the most important musician for you in the melodies, in the sense of melodies?
And that, I mean, I think obviously it's got to start with the Beatles. That's a really bad answer because everyone just says the Beatles, but it was true, especially when you got in from Revolver onwards. The melodies, the hooks that they had were brilliant. But then then when I moved into the 70s, the bands I used to love, and the progressive rock bands, I guess, with bands like Supertramp. Crime of the Century is still one of my most favorite records, and that's just full of amazing melodies, amazing hooks. And that's the reason why when you go and see Roger Hodgson play in the Royal Albert Hall, it's full of a massive cross section of people, lots of women, lots of guys, just people that love music, don't care, and that's something that I've always, really, really appreciated. And Pink Floyd, much more somber, but they had the hooks. They have hooks. And then throughout, one of my favorite artists is Beck. I think he's the way that he comes up with melodies, and when in the early days of the Pineapple Thief, I still love the Smashing Pumpkins, all hooky things that you can sing along and that really grab you. So yeah, there's lots of inspiration over the years.
So this was the most challenging for you to write this on this album, to find specific moments in at certain moments in your tracks.
I think for me personally, I was really pushing the vocal a lot more, and I was conscious that I kind of fall into a sort of safe zone, a sort of default when I'm singing, and I think, oh yeah, that's good. But this time I thought, well, actually, that's how you always do it. Let's try and push the vocal, And so when I listen back to the record, I realize now that I've treated the vocal much more as an instrument, and almost probably the most important instrument on the record, in terms of that's what is conveying the song, the lyrics. And of Gavin will say that's rubbish. Now the drums are the most important thing. And I remember Bill Bruford saying that, because everything starts with the drums. So yeah, we can have a debate about that. But yeah, I just pushed myself. I just really, really wanted to test myself, a lot more. I think that Gavin was really keen to get me out of my comfort zone, and certainly when I was sitting opposite Gavin when he's playing these drums, and saying, "Bruce, I've got this idea. There's like Rubicon starts with this like quite strange 5/4 shuffle kind of beat." And I was like, "Whoa, what is that?" You know, and I'm thinking this is crazy. And he's doing this drum part, and I've got to come up with something straight away. And he's looking at me. Oh my god! You know, that's definitely not my comfort zone. Normally, my comfort zone is like, "Oh, right, Gav, what do you want?" "Oh, yeah, he sent me a drum part. Right, okay, let's have a listen." "Oh, okay, that's quite interesting." Go and have a lie down on the sofa, have a think about it, pick a guitar up, you know. It's all very, very easy. I've got so much time. Whereas, you know, when you're in front with someone, that's all out the window. And it was like, "Oh, I've got to, you know." And so he was saying, "Yeah, Bruce, I like that. I like that. Yeah, where can it go next?" And you're thinking, "Rah." So I think it did take us. It certainly took me to a new place I'd never been before in my head.
It's good. That's like
Mm.
a like a journey, like a if you travel in a new country, you know.
Yeah, yeah, or traveling through time, yeah.
What about the vocals? Um, yeah, it's kind of observing, you know, the world. It reminds me a song from Einar, you know, Einar from Leprous band.
Yeah, yeah,
He wrote a song called a wonderful song called "Observing the Train." You know,
right.
it's like and I feel you often use the word time in this album. I feel it's like how did you feel, you know, writing those topics?
I think, and people do say that, there's a lot, like you're right. There's a lot of I and you, and there always is, and that's because that's what I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about, you look at the world, and it's not getting better. It is quite apocalyptic. The theme that goes through it leads to this, the dystopian cover. But the thing is, I look at what's happening in the world through the lens of my family. Through I've got 5-year-old daughter, I've got twin 16-year-old boys, and my wife. Obviously, these are the people that are closest to me. So they're the things that really, really, get me working when it comes to writing songs. And obviously, I'm not going to write songs about my kids or my daughter or anything, or my wife. That's not what I want to do. I don't think anyone wants to listen to that kind of stuff. But that's what inspires me to take these sort of grander concepts, such as, were we part of the problem? It leads to this, and put it right. Is humanity doomed? Have we got time to fix things? There's a song called Rubicon, actually, which is actually based on Julius Caesar, but it was because I'm really into Roman history, and the relevance of that is that this guy, through selfish ambition, destroyed the Roman Republic, all that kind of stuff, and you kind of bring that to what's happening now, and you look at all the big players in the world, and it's just the same. It's just history repeating itself. These people ruining it for everybody, and so it's sad, but there's always positive in it, and I look at humanity, and I look at everybody I meet as just being nice people. Like, you're a nice guy, aren't you? I just get that sense that you're a nice guy. You're not the kind of person that would invade another country and go and murder lots of people. You're not going to do that, and
Not
that's
yet.
what most people are like. Most people are like. So I've got a lot of hope. There's a lot of hope for humanity. But yeah, through the lens of the children, through my kids, there's a track on there called "Now It's Yours," which is about, oh my goodness, what are they going to inherit? But in a wider sort of context.
So about Rubicon, because I'm a huge fan of history too. So yeah, uh, uh, Julius Caesar crossed the border, you know.
Yeah, he crossed the Rubicon. Yeah, the die is cast. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why he said, "Yeah, I'm the new king. I'm the yeah, I got a
Yeah,
ball."
exactly.
You know?
paved the way for the Republic was doomed, and and paved the way for Augustus to be the first emperor. It was yeah, it's funny. I'm actually reading. I haven't got it. I'm actually reading a book now, which is a French translation. It's the Memoirs of Hadrian by Marguerite Yourcenar.
Yourcenar.
Yeah, Yourcenar.
The famous French writer.
Right, that's what I thought. It's been translated to English, obviously. But I thought, yeah, I wondered if you heard of it.
Yeah, not this book actually, but yeah. So you find your inspiration too in the books?
Well, I do, and I'm absolutely. It's a rabbit hole, certainly, and so I'm absolutely fascinated. And I think that I could see myself taking these. This book especially is absolutely intense. It's basically a book about death, about Hadrian, writing about his final months and reassessing his life. And you can just take that, and it's so inspirational. I could see myself writing more of in this. Rubicon could be like the beginning of many other songs like that are inspired in the same way.
So it leads to this. So it means, yeah, here we are, and what are we doing now, right?
Yeah, exactly that. And how did we get it? And also, does it have to lead to this? That's the other question. But yeah, how did we get here? I remember like 20 years ago, the world was full of so much hope. It
was more
Europe. Yeah, Europe. It was everywhere. The Berlin Wall coming down. It felt really liberal. And now, what's going on? What is happening? It wasn't supposed to be this way. So yeah, it's a bit sad, but I'm still hopeful. Still hopeful we'll come out of this period, and it'll just be a little paragraph. Oh yeah, remember the sort of the 20s, the 2020s. Yeah, that was a weird decade, but luckily we came out of it, and everything was fine. Yeah.
100 years ago, it was a complete disaster.
Exactly, of course, yeah, and we don't want that to happen again. Yeah, so of course, yeah, we would. Well, we'd just come out of the First World War, so yeah, and the Depression and the World War II. So yeah, hopefully none of that will repeat.
And then Winston Churchill was here.
Yes, exactly.
I'm a huge fan.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of Winston Churchill. His quotes are fantastic.
Yeah. He was exactly the kind of person you needed time of war. That's for sure.
And this artwork, this picture for your artwork, was it taken in the USA? It seems so, in the middle of nowhere.
I don't know where they all came from. It was a bit based on it was a guy called Richard Beeching at our label who put the artwork all together. But I remember saying to him that I kind of feel like this is a sequel to Your Wilderness, sort of conceptually. So I went back to Your Wilderness, which is Carl Glover did the artwork for that, which was very Americana. So it's all very sort of old Midwest American sort of. And so I wanted to get the same kind of feeling, but as if the front cover of Your Wilderness has a mother and a child overlooking this mountainous world, and I kind of like the idea of that child now being grown up, but in the same, and where it leads to this title sort of tying in.
It's like kind of I was thinking about Jack Kerouac.
Oh yeah.
That's writer, like in the 70s, I suppose, and yeah, it's I think sometimes you need calmness and to stop the fast things, and observing the world is relaxing sometimes.
But yeah, and I think that's something you grasp as you get older. you look back at your youth and you realize you was just everything was so fast you didn't actually stop to appreciate what was important, you know. So
And what do you like to do when you're on tour? Because it's I know it's fast when you're on tour. You have to do all your stuff, and so what do you like to? What do you appreciate when you're on tour? Because you're going to be on in the UK and a Euro tour in the next days.
yeah, we are. I can't wait because, to be honest, it's really relaxing because we're so lucky with the Pineapple Thief that we go in a tour bus, we got crew. So in the old days, and I've certainly spent a lot of years doing it this way, driving a van, setting up your own equipment, packing it away, staying in a cheap hotel, getting up at dawn to drive to the next venue, repeat. It's not. It's so much nicer. So I get to spend a lot of time in my bunk, close the curtain, read my books, stumble out of the bunk, you know, into sound check and do the show. So actually, it's really good fun. So I'm just looking forward to switching off, writing some lyrics. I like to spend a lot of time walking around the cities that we're in, you know, getting inspiration. I've got a little field recorder that I take with me. So I just like recording the ambience of all these different, because every city has a different sound.
Flavor.
So I like that. So yeah, that's what I'll be doing.
What are you going to visit in Paris?
Oh, of course, yes. We're down. We're staying again, aren't we? In playing in the Montmartre, and
Élysée Montmartre.
yeah, which is
Fantastic venue.
yeah, it's an amazing venue. So there's a guy that I've got a friend, Julian Montenegro. It's called, and a French guy, and he always takes me out for dinner and gives me a really posh bottle of wine. So I'll be enjoying some lovely Parisian cuisine, I think, and wine. Not
Great.
before the show, obviously.
Not
Mm.
before, after.
No, no alcohol before playing. That's for
Yeah.
sure.
And just before entering the stage, what do you like to, what do you need? Just like 10 minutes before entering?
Yeah, so there's always a sort of a period where we have to sort of switch off and go, right, do you realize you're about to go in front of like 1,000 people or more, and they're going to be looking at you, and you've got to give them, you know, you've got to give them the best possible performance you possibly can. So like about 20 minutes before you go on, you have to then you go into this kind of this world where everybody is getting, you know, Gavin's warming his sticks up. Baron and myself, we have this vocal warm-up routine. So we go somewhere and do it. It takes about 10 minutes just to get your vocals ready. And then just before we go on, you know, the band, we and lots of bands do this. You have a huddle. You all get together and it's like a team. You go, right, yeah, come on, let's do this. And we'll see you on the other side. Because the weirdest thing about going on stage is the only time you really get to talk about stuff is when the show's over. So you'll be playing and maybe something's happening or someone makes a mistake, and you know that everyone's thinking, oh, Bruce, you got the words wrong, and I'm there going, oh god, yeah. And then but you can't say anything, you can't give anything away. And then when you go off stage to the dressing room, it just all comes out. He says, Bruce, yeah, you did that stupid thing. Did you see that guy at the back that doing that? And then, you know, it's a brilliant thing, especially when you're a bunch of friends. When there's five of us and we're all good friends that are on stage.
What's next for the band? Will you tour in other continents or in?
I think every time we announce a tour, we always get loads of people going, "Oh, why aren't you coming here? You know, no Scandinavian dates. When are you coming to Turkey? When are you coming to Australia, Japan? You know?" And it's like, so we do want to come out and do more shows. There's lots of places in Europe we need to play. Hopefully North America, hopefully South America. So yeah, there's so many. The great thing about the Pineapple Thief, which is so privileged, is that we seem to have a following almost everywhere. We could probably land in any country, and there would be people that would come and watch us. So that's what I want to do. I want to go to those places.
Great, and maybe find some sunny places, right?
Yeah, Yes, get away from the British weather. Yeah,
But we
you
have
know,
the
I
weather.
wouldn't mind rating, you know, because like it's such a terrible state, you know, post Brexit, you know, it's this very depressing. I'd love to just move to Europe because I regard myself as a European. So, but we won't go into that.
Thank you, Bruce. Thank you. And
Yeah, thanks. I enjoyed our chat.
the album is out next February. Great.
Yeah, it leads to this as the next single, which is coming out in about a week, February the 2nd, I think.
Great.
So the title track. So that'll be out soon.
Thank you, Bruce. Take care.
And you.
Enjoy your evening, right?
I will. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you,
Cheers.
Bruce.
For all this time, for all this progress.